if there is a function which is multiplication of two functions. How do you tackle that? You take the first function, you find the differential of the second function, then you take the differential of the first function and just multiply it by the second function. How it looks like? Let us take a simple example. So for example, let me take a very simple example. The same functions that we have dealt with now, they are easy to treat and you won't face any difficulty. So for example, I'm given a function like y is equal to e raised to power x into sin x. Have you understood?
Yeah.
Okay. So how do I find the differential of y? How do I find dy by dx? All I need to do is keep the first one waiting. Find the differential of the second function. Now, because I have already found the differential of the second function, I will keep the first function waiting. No, yeah, the second function waiting and I'll find the differential of the first function. भाई सीवी समझ आ रहा है? मिस्टर रुद्र, मिस्टर रुद्र,
बस
भाई सुन रहे हो? सो गए?
सुन
Avantika, any doubt till here?
No.
And see, finding the differential is not an issue for me because I can always look at the tables. That is not an issue. I can look at the table and find the differential of sin x. I can look at the table and find the differential of ex. And by experience, I know that the differential of sin x is by CB. और ex का differential क्या होता है बेटा? अरे वाह. अवंतिका, any doubt? Avantika, any doubt?
No.
Okay. So, when we look at these kind of questions, basically these kind of questions that you will have to do in the homework. Question number 2. You can leave this question number 3. This is a bit tricky, especially if you don't know how to deal with logs. This one is tricky. So, you can also leave 5th. But if I have a function like this, x5 into tan x, so how do I find the differential? So dy by dx would be given by, can you tell me, Avantika, what should be the answer? How should I find? Don't tell me the answer. How should I find? What would be the step number 1? Keep the first function waiting.
Yeah.
Find the differential of the second function. Then what should I do, Avantika? Mr. Rudra. Mr. CB. Because you have already taken the differential of the second function, now you will take the differential of the first function. The first function is x raised to power 5 and keep the second function waiting. Avantika, are we making sense or not?
Yeah.
So don't worry, these are simple questions. You won't face any difficulty. If you have done the homework, I had sent you a lecture that you needed to watch. Did you watch that lecture?
No, I'm not. No, I didn't watch the lecture.
ठीक है. तो बेटा अभी आप वॉच कर लीजिए, आपके पास कल का दिन है. So that is based on this lecture only. So there are a lot of practice questions done in that. I'll show you that lecture.
Yeah, and this is what we will discuss in next lecture.
Yes. Mr. Rudra, कुछ समझ आया?
Yes.
Avantika, is it making sense now?
Yeah.
Okay. Let us try to do this. Avantika, will you try?
No, I'll probably just watch a few.
Okay. Mr. Rudra को पकड़ते हैं, सो जाता है. Mr. Rudra, बताइए.
So x cube.
शाबाश.
Differentiate.
शाबाश.
log x.
शाबाश. बहुत बढ़िया. उसके बाद
फिर x क्यूब को डिफरेंशिएट करेंगे
शाबाश शाबाश, वेरी नाइस, शाबाश, वेरी नाइस। उसके बाद जो दूसरा फंक्शन है, that is written as it is. Why it is written as it is? Because you have already found the differential in the first term. Avantika, is it making sense?
Yeah.
Now I need the differential of log x. I don't know the differential of log x, so I look at in the table. So differential of log x, Avantika, is
1/x.
1 upon x. So what should I write here? X cube as it is. What is the differential of log x, Avantika?
1/x.
Shabash. This would be 1 upon x plus what would be the differential of x cube, Avantika? Mr. Rudra?
3x square.
Shabash, shabash. 3x square into log x. Avantika, is it making sense?
Yes.
So this would be x square plus 3x square log x. Avantika, any doubt?
No.
Yeah. So you take the first function. So for example, in the next question, this would be the first function. This would be the second function. This would be the first function. This would be the second function. So in question number 2, just do 2 questions. Any doubt till there?
No.
So this is the second formula that we use, and what I was suggesting was that what I was suggesting was that this is the lecture that you'll have to see. Do you see this lecture based on uv and u by v?
Yeah.
Do you see this?
Yeah.
So this is the lecture that is based on rule number 2 and 3. These are the tricky rules. The first one is simple. U plus minus v is simple. The tricky part is u by v and u into v. Is it making sense?
Yeah.
Mr. Rudra, समझ आ रहा है?
हाँ,
And see, this is again, if you directly want to jump on the numericals, you can look at this differentiation calculation examples for practice. But if you want to, have a general introduction again, then you can look at this. This is what I had recommended to you, this part B, introduction. But this will more or less cover the questions that I'm discussing right now. Avantika, is it making sense?
Yeah.
So if you want, you can look at this lecture first, part B first, and then you can come to this lecture, this one, examples for practice.
Yeah.
If you are okay with the rules, if you have understood the rules, these UV rules, then you can directly jump to this one. So I'll send you the link of the both of these again. Are we okay? But
Yeah.
please use this 2-day break effectively. Are we okay?
Yes.
So if I have to find the differential of, so the first rule says if I have to find the differential of functions which are sum and addition and subtraction of various functions, and all I have to do is find the differential of the respective functions and add or subtract as per the sign of the original function. The second rule says that if two boys have gone to a barber shop, the first one would be get a haircut first, the second one will have to wait, and afterwards the second one will get the haircut and the first one will have to wait. Are we okay till here?
Yeah.
And this one, the third one, is a bit tricky. Let us look at this. This will take 5 minutes to understand. So what this says is, if there is a function which is written like u upon v, then how do we find the differential of y? We write a v square, then we write v du by dx minus u dv by dx. Let us try to understand this. So for example, if I have a function like say x upon log x, have you understood, Avantika?
Yeah.
how do we find the differential of dy by dx? Square of the denominator. Are we clear? Then write the denominator and find the differential of the numerator. Avantika, are we clear?
Yeah.
Then put a minus sign. I have already taken the differential of the numerator, so I will just write the numerator again and I will find the differential of the denominator. Avantika, is it making sense?
Yeah.
And of course, then I'll have to find the differential. Dx is 1 minus x. Log x differential is 1 by x whole divided by log x whole square. Are we clear till here?
Yeah.
Let us take another very simple example. This. Let us take another example. So I have a function y which is written as क्या बनाएं भाई? Ex by sin x. Avantika, have you understood?
Yeah.
मिस्टर रुद्र बताइए कैसे करें? नीचे डिनोमिनेटर में क्या लिखो रुद्र?
Sin x square.
साइन एक्स का होल स्क्वायर. फिर जिसका होल स्क्वायर लिया डिनोमिनेटर, आई राइट इट लाइक दिस. देन आई फाइंड द differential of Mr. Rudra, the numerator. Are we clear?
Yes.
माइनस. अभी न्यूमरेटर का आपने डिफरेंशियल ले लिया है, तो न्यूमरेटर आप वेट करेगा और डिफरेंशियल किसका लिया जाएगा? डिनोमिनेटर का. सो आई फाइंड द डिफरेंशियल ऑफ the denominator and the numerator weights. Avantika, is it making sense?
Yeah.
So this would be sin x ex minus ex whole upon sin x ka whole square. Is it making sense?
Yeah.
So, Miss Avantika, when we come to question 4th, this is what we will have to do. And you can skip question number 6. You can skip question number 5. This is a bit difficult. You can do rest of the questions. Avantika, any doubt? Miss Avantika, any doubt?
No.
So, our homework would be question number 1, all parts. Question number 2, first 4 parts. Question number 4, first 4 parts. Would you be able to do these?
Yeah.
And as I have told you, that if you have understood the rules, if you have understood the UV rules, then you can directly jump to these examples for practice based on UV. So this is a pretty detailed lecture. Or if you haven't understood, then you look at this introduction to differentiation rules, U plus minus V, UV, U upon V for physics example formula, class 11th. Any doubt, Avantika? Avantika, any doubt?
No.
Okay. So basically, as I told you in lecture number 1 only, that what is that we are driving at? Basically, we are driving at this lecture where we want to apply differentiation, the rules that we have understood in differentiation, to physics. Is it making sense?
Yeah.
Basically, we want to tackle the, of course, because we are doing chapter number 3, we want to do motion problems using calculus. Is it making sense?
Yeah.
Just give me 1 second. So, if we look at our textbook, the basic NCRT, our primary reference. If you look at chapter number 3, elements of calculus, differential calculus, do you see these graphs?
Yeah.
So, if you remember, these are the kind of things that we have been discussing. If you see this x plus delta x, these are the kind of things that we have discussed in lecture number 2. And right now, in lecture number 3, these are the rules that we are discussing. Do you see these rules? Avantika, are you able to see these rules?
Yeah.
So these are the rules that we are discussing. And if you see, velocity is dx by dt, acceleration is dv by dt, d square x by dt square. This is where we are. And after having covered this, we'll try to understand these basic rules of integration also. In the next 1 or 2 lectures, we'll be moving on to integration. We'll try to understand how does integration looks like, and how does integration help us. So, for example, in this textbook, when they talk about velocity being dx by dt, yeah, acceleration being dv by dt, this is the part of the chapter that we are covering. Avantika, is it making sense? We will do the numerical application also, but I just want to motivate you guys so that you know that this is whatever we are doing right now is part of our syllabus. So you shouldn't feel कि सर जंगल में पता नहीं कहाँ घुमा रहे हैं हमें, यहीं छोड़ जाएंगे. So if you see this formula, now it will make some sense to you at least. Or if we see this velocity formula, now it will make some sense. Avantika, are we clear?
Yeah.
So similarly, when we go to chapter number 4, before we go to chapter number 4, we'll have a discussion on vectors also. Now this part, the calculus part that we have covered, that v is equal to dx by dt and acceleration is dv by dt, it will come very heavily when we will be doing simple harmonic motion. There, the functions that we will be using would be sine functions, cos functions. We'll have to know the differential of sine and cos functions. So I'll send you the scan of this. Please do these questions before you come for the Wednesday lecture. Avantika, are we clear?
Yeah.
And if you can, I would suggest that do these questions which are discussed in this lecture also. Are we clear?
Yeah.
Mr. Rudra, हो जाएगा?
Yes.
Okay. Let's meet on Wednesday now. Yeah?
Okay.
Okay.